The problem with living in a neighborhood run by a woman who believes she's queen of a gated kingdom is that sooner or later she thinks your land is her royal parking lot. Karen, the self-proclaimed empress of our HOA, strutted up to my porch like she owned the whole zip code. With her laminated clipboard and fake pearls bouncing off her surgically stiff neck, she gave me one of those sweet but sinister smiles. "My daughter's wedding is in 2 weeks," she said, not asking but announcing, "and I've decided your field is perfect for guest parking." Welcome to Prodigy Tales. Make sure you like and subscribe for your top-notch HOA drama. I stared at her, half expecting hidden cameras. My farm field sits just outside the HOA's line of control, legally out of their jurisdiction. But Karen doesn't care for laws when her ego's on the line. "So, what do you think?" she asked again, tapping her pen on her clipboard like I was late signing a contract I never agreed to. I shrugged. "I'll have to think about it. I've got equipment out there, livestock rotation, irrigation lines." She cut me off with a wave of her hand like I was some toddler babbling nonsense. "It's just dirt, and it's not like anyone's using it for anything real. I'll send someone over to measure space tomorrow." Now, I could have shut her down immediately, but something told me to play it slow. Karen wasn't the type to take no for an answer. She was the type to do it anyway and blame the victim. I knew better than to underestimate her. I'd seen her fine a retired veteran $200 for non-HOA compliant bird feeders. I'd watched her hold emergency meetings over the color of someone's garage door trim. This was the same woman who once called animal control because she saw a chicken menacing her Yorkie. My gut told me this wasn't just a one-time request. She had plans, and her plans never came without chaos. So I went back inside, grabbed a cold one, and stared out the window at my just dirt field. I knew this wasn't over. I knew Karen didn't believe in boundaries. But what she didn't know was that I wasn't some clueless farmer waiting to get rolled. I was ready for her. Karen didn't wait long before testing my patience. 2 days after her little announcement, I spotted a landscaping crew poking around the edge of my field. No heads up, no permission, just a bunch of polo-shirted dudes with walkie-talkies measuring imaginary parking spaces on my land like it was already hers. I walked out, calm but direct, and said, "Can I help you gentlemen before you make the mistake of trespassing a little harder?" They froze, exchanged glances, then scurried back toward their van like wet rats. 10 minutes later, my phone rang. It was Karen. "I thought we agreed," she said, her voice dripping with faux concern. "No," I replied. "We didn't agree. I said I'd think about it." She went quiet for a second, probably suppressing her inner demon. "Fine. Let's make it official then. What do you want?" I told her calmly. "A $25,000 refundable deposit. Up front. I'll return it after the wedding, provided your guests don't damage my property." Dead silence. Then she exploded. "Are you kidding me? $25,000 for some dirt and weeds? You must be out of your damn mind." "No," I said. "I just value my land more than you value my time." That's when she lost it. Full HOA Karen mode activated. "You can go to hell with your precious little farm," she spat. "Don't worry, we'll figure it out without your help. You're nobody. That land should have been HOA property anyway." She hung up. Now, if I didn't know Karen like I do, maybe I'd think she just backed out, and that would be the end of it. But Karen doesn't back out. Karen waits until you let your guard down, then sinks her claws in. So I knew one thing for sure. Wedding or not, she was still planning to use my field. I could see it in her entitled little smirk. And if there's one thing I've learned about dealing with HOA snakes like her, it's that you never wait for them to strike. You set the trap first. So I got to planning. Quietly. Carefully. Legally. I didn't want war, but if war came to me wrapped in pastel wedding colors and Range Rovers, I was ready to go nuclear. The minute Karen barked those final words through the phone, I knew she'd be back, and not through the front door. So I did what any responsible landowner with a dash of paranoia would do. I activated my cameras. See, I already had trail cams scattered across the property for coyotes and trespassers, but now I upgraded. Motion-activated, night vision, cloud storage backup, even one hidden in a fake scarecrow. I wasn't taking chances. Then came the next layer. Signs. Bright red, all caps, reflective lettering, "No trespassing, private property, tire damage risk ahead." I planted them every 20 feet around the field's edge, plus a giant banner across the main access gate. I wanted zero doubt that anyone stepping foot onto my soil was doing so at their own risk. But that was just the warning. The real message lay just beneath the surface. I spent the next 48 hours laying out my masterpiece, a rustic patch of hell dressed as a parking lot. See, Karen thought it was just dirt, but that dirt now hid old harrow teeth, rusted rebar, thick wooden spikes from broken pallets, even a few tire poppers I'd salvaged from an old construction site. Nothing illegal, nothing lethal, but enough to make Michelin weep. The key was the spacing. Spread them wide, just enough to guarantee that anyone who tried driving deep into the field wouldn't make it back out on 4 good tires. Then I waited. Sure enough, the wedding day arrived like a cheesy romantic apocalypse. Karen had the street decked out in white ribbons and pink balloons, like a Hallmark bomb went off. Tents, champagne, string quartet, the whole fantasy. And then came the guests. At least 50 cars, mostly luxury. Audis, Teslas, a couple of obnoxious lifted trucks with mirror tint windows. And instead of parking on the curb or using the designated lots, guess where they went? Straight into my field. I watched from my porch, coffee in hand, as the first 5 cars glided over my signs without pause. Tires crunched on gravel, then thumped, then hissed. One by one, they started to slow, then they stopped. Then came the chaos. A Mercedes listed sideways like a dying horse. A Lexus sputtered forward before folding in on itself, with 4 flat tires. I could hear the shouting from across the fence. And Karen? She was too busy waving her arms at the valet to notice the full-on parking massacre. Screams started with the first hissing tire. Then came the honking, the cursing, the slow realization that no one was leaving that field without a tow truck and a shattered ego. Karen came sprinting toward the edge of my property in her neon pink heels, screaming like a banshee in a bridal nightmare. Her face went from shock to confused to absolutely livid in under 10 seconds. "You did this," she screeched, stabbing a manicured finger in my direction. "You set a trap." I didn't say a word. I just tilted my coffee mug in her direction and took a long, smug sip. Her guests were now stepping out of their flattened chariots, slipping on hidden nails, tripping over wood planks, and calling roadside assistance on speakerphone with tears in their eyes. The field looked like a graveyard of bad decisions, and I had it all, every second, on camera. About an hour later, after the wedding tent collapsed from a poorly timed gust of wind, and 3 guests accidentally stepped into cow pies trying to escape, I heard Karen screaming for her lawyer on the phone. "He ruined my daughter's wedding. I want him arrested." Fast forward a few weeks, and I found myself in small claims court. Karen, full of fire and fumes, marched in with some HOA board members, claiming I had maliciously booby-trapped my field. She pointed at pictures of blown tires like they were war crime evidence. Her daughter even came up to testify, crying about the emotional trauma of her ruined wedding, while Karen clutched a tissue and faked a sniffle every 10 seconds. Then it was my turn. I handed the judge a folder, timestamped security footage, photos of clearly posted signs, GPS-tagged camera logs, and statements from neighbors who saw the signs. I calmly explained my reasonable precautions, the legal warnings, the fact that Karen never got permission, and how she told me to go to hell when I asked for a refundable deposit. The judge reviewed everything, looked back at Karen and simply said, "Ma'am, you trespassed. You violated property boundaries. You're lucky he didn't press charges." Karen's mouth dropped like a broken drawbridge. Final ruling? Case dismissed. Case dismissed. Karen fined $8,000 for willful property damage. HOA insurance wouldn't cover it. And just like that, the mighty queen of the cul-de-sac was dethroned. Word spread fast. Her smug glances turned into awkward silences at board meetings. The end. Please like and subscribe for more HOA showdowns like this. Do you think Karen got what she deserved? Comment below.